6776 BCE. Start of Hindu lists of kings according to ancient Greek references that give Hindus 150 kings and a history of 6,400 years before 300 BCE agrees with next entry. 6500 BCE, Rig Veda verses, example 1.117.22, 1.116.12, 1.84.13.5, say winter solstice begins in Aries according to Dr. D. Frawley, indicating the antiquity of this section of the Vedas. 6000 BCE, early sites on the Sarasvati River, then India's largest flowing west of Delhi into the Rann of Kutch. Rajasthan is a fertile region with much grassland as described in the Rig Veda. The culture based upon barley, yava, copper, ayas, and cattle also reflects that of the Rig Veda. 5500 BCE, date of astrological observations associated with ancient events later mentioned in the Puranas, Alain Danielou. 5500 BCE, Mehergar villagers make baked pottery and thousands of small clay female figurines interpreted to be earliest signs of Shakti worship and are involved in long-distance trade in precious stones and seashells. 5000 BCE, world population 5 million, doubles every 1,000 years. 5000 BCE, beginnings of Indus-Sarasvati civilizations of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, date derived by considering archaeological sites reached after excavating 45 feet. Brick fire altars exist in many houses, suggesting Vedic fire rites. Yajna, earliest signs of worship of Lord Shiva. The mature culture will last 3,000 years, ending around 1700. 5000 BCE, rice is harvested in China, with grains found in baked bricks, but its cultivation originated in eastern India. 4300 BCE, traditional date for Lord Rama's time. Kulkarni's date is 5500 BCE. See also 2040 BCE and latest dating at 500 BCE. 4000 BCE, excavations from this period at Sumerian sites of Kish and Susa reveal existence of Indian trade products. 4000 BCE, India's population is 1 million. 4000 BCE, date of world's creation, Christian genealogies. 3928 BCE, July 25th, the earliest eclipse mentioned in the Rig Veda, according to Indian researcher Dr. Sri P.C. Sengupta. 3200 BCE, Hindu astronomers, nakshatra darshas, record in Vedic texts citations of full moon and new moon at winter and summer solstices and spring and fall equinoxes with reference to 27 fixed stars, nakshatras, spaced nearly equally on the moon's elliptic, visual path across the sky. The precession of the equinoxes, caused by the wobbling of the Earth's axis of rotation, makes the nakshatras appear to drift at a constant rate along a predictable course over a 25,000-year cycle. With such observations, historians can calculate backwards to determine the date the indicated position of moon, sun, and nakshatra occurred. 3139 BCE, reference to vernal equinox in Rohini, middle of Taurus, from some Brahmanas as noted by B.G. Tilak, Indian scholar and patriot. Now preferred date of Mahabharata war and life of Lord Krishna. See also 1472 BCE. 3102 BCE, Kali era Hindu calendar starts, Kali Yuga begins. 3100 BCE, early Vedic period ends, late Vedic period begins. 3100 BCE, India includes Afghanistan and parts of Central Asia. 3100 BCE, Aryans inhabit Iran, Iraq, and western Indus Sarasvati Valley frontier. Frawley describes Aryans as a culture of spiritual knowledge. He and a host of Indian historians believe 1. The land of seven rivers, Saptasindhu, cited in the Rig Veda, refers to India only. 2. That the people of Indus-Sarasvati valleys and those of Rig Veda are the same. And 3. There was no Aryan invasion. Others claim the Indus-Sarasvati people were Dravidians who moved out or were displaced by incoming Aryans. 3000 BCE, weaving in Europe. Near East and Indus-Sarasvati Valley is primarily coiled basketry, either spiraled or sewn. 3000 BCE, evidence of horses in South India. 3000 BCE, people of Tehuacan, Mexico are cultivating corn. 3000 BCE, Shiva Agamas are recorded, time of the earliest Tamil Sangam. See also 500 BCE. 2700 BCE, Tolkappiyam Tamil grammar is composed. C. 500 BCE. 2700 BCE, seals of Indus-Sarasvati Valley indicate Shiva worship in depictions of Shiva as Pashupati, lord of animals. 2600 BCE, Indus-Sarasvati civilization reaches height. It sustains until 1700 BCE, spreading from Pakistan to Gujarat, Punjab, and Uttar Pradesh. It is the largest of the world's three oldest civilizations, with links to Mesopotamia, possibly Crete, Afghanistan, Central Asia, and Karnataka. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro have populations of 100,000. 2600 BCE. Major portions of the Veda hymns are composed during the reign of Vishvamitra I, dating by Dr. S.B. Roy. 2600 BCE, drying up of Drishadvati River of Vedic fame, along with possible shifting of the Yamuna to flow into the Ganga. 2600 BCE, first Egyptian pyramid is under construction. 2500 BCE, main period of Indus-Sarasvati cities. Culture relies heavily on rice and cotton, as mentioned in Atharva Veda, which were first developed in India. 90% of sites are along the Sarasvati, the region's agricultural breadbasket. Mohenjo-Daro is a large peripheral trading center. Rakhigarhi and Ganwerawala, not yet excavated in 1994, on the Sarasvati are as big as Mohenjo-Daro. So is Dolarvira in Kutch. Indus-Sarasvati sites have been found as far south as Karnataka's Godavari River and north into Afghanistan on the Amu-Darya River. 2500 BCE. Reference to vernal equinox in Kritika, Pleiades, or early Taurus, from Yajur and Atharva Veda hymns and Brahmanas. This corresponds to Harappan seals that show 7 women, the Kritikas, tending a fire. 2300 BCE, Sargon founds Mesopotamian kingdom of Akkad, trades with Indus-Sarasvati Valley cities. 2300 BCE, Indo-Europeans in Russia's Ural steppelands develop efficient spoked wheel chariot technology using 1,000-year-old horse husbandry and freight cart technology. 2050 BCE, Vedic people are living in Persia and Afghanistan. 2051 BCE, Devadasha reigns to 1961 BCE, has contact with Babylon's king Indatu, Babylonian chronology, dating by S.B. Roy. Circa 2040 BCE, Prince Rama born at Ayodhya, site of future Rama temple. This and next 2 dates by S.B. Roy, see also 4000 BCE. 2033 BCE, reign of Dasharatha, father of Lord Rama. King Ravana, villain of the Ramayana, reigns in Sri Lanka. 2000 BCE, Indo-Europeans, Celts, Slavs, Lithuanians, Ukrainians follow cosmology, theology, astronomy, ritual, society, and marriage that parallel early Vedic patterns. 2000 BCE, probable date of first written Shaiva Agamas. 2000 BCE, world population 27 million. India 5 million, or 22%. India has roughly 1/4 of human race throughout history. 1915 BCE, all Madurai Tamil Sangam is held at Thiruparankunram according to traditional Tamil chronology. 1900 BCE, late Vedic period ends, post-Vedic period begins. 1900 BCE, drying up of Sarasvati River, end of Indus-Sarasvati culture, end of the Vedic age. After this, the center of civilization in ancient India relocates from the Sarasvati to the Ganga, along with possible migration of Vedic peoples out of India to the Near East, perhaps giving rise to the Mitanni and Kassites, who worship Vedic gods. The redirection of the Sutlej into the Indus causes the Indus area to flood. Climate changes make the Sarasvati region too dry for habitation. Thought lost, its riverbed is finally photographed via satellite in the 1990s. 1500 BCE, Egyptians bury their royalty in the Valley of the Kings. 1500 BCE, Polynesians migrate throughout Pacific Islands. 1500 BCE, submergence of the stone port city of Dwarka near Gujarat, where early Brahmi script, India's ancient alphabet, is used. Recent excavation by Dr. S.R. Rao, larger than Mohenjo-Daro, many identify it with the Dwarka of Krishna. Possible date of Lord Krishna indicates second urbanization phase of India between Indus-Sarasvati sites like Harappa and later cities on the Ganga. 1500 BCE, indigenous iron technology in Dwarka and Kashmir. 1500 BCE, cinnamon is exported from Kerala to Middle East. 1450 BCE, end of Rig Veda Samhita narration. 1450 BCE, early Upanishads are composed during the next few hundred years, also Vedangas and Sutra literature. 1424 BCE, Mahabharata war occurs, dated by sage Vyasa's citation in his epic poem on the War of Winter Solstice at Dhanishta, which occurs around this time. Reign of Kaurava king Dhritarshtra and of Pandava king Yudhishthira, time of sage Yajnavalkya. See also now preferred date at 3139 BCE. Subashkak places the battle at 2449 BCE. Others give later dates up to the 9th century BCE. 1424 BCE. Birth of Parikshit, grandson of Arjuna and next king. 1350 BCE. At Bogazkoy in Turkey, stone inscription of the Mitanni Treaty lists as divine witnesses the Vedic deities Mitra, Varuna, Indra, and the Nasatyas, Ashvins. 1316 BCE, Mahabharata epic poem is composed by sage Vyasa. 1300 BCE, Panini composes Ashtadhyayi, systematizing Sanskrit grammar in 4,000 rules, dated by S.B. Roy, Kulkarni. Places Panini at 2100 BCE. Western scholars say 400 BCE. 1300 BCE. Changes are made in the Mahabharata and Ramayana through 200 BCE. Puranas are edited up until 400 CE. Early Smriti literature is composed over next 400 years. 1255 BCE. King Suchi of Magadha writes Jyotisha Vedanga, including astronomical observations which date this scripture that summer solstice occurs in Ashlesha Nakshatra. 1250 BCE, Moses leads 600,000 Jews out of Egypt. 1200 BCE, probable time of legendary Greek-Trojan War, celebrated in Homer's epic poems Iliad and Odyssey, circa 750 BCE. 1124 BCE, Elamite dynasty of Nebuchadnezzar, 1124 BCE to 1103 BCE, moves capital to Babylon, world's largest city, covering 10,000 hectares. slightly larger than present-day San Francisco. 1000 BCE, late Vedic period ends, post-Vedic period begins. 1000 BCE, world population is 50 million, doubling every 500 years. 1000 BCE, Jewish King David reigns to circa 962 BCE, forms a united kingdom in what is present-day Israel and Lebanon. 950 BCE, King Hiram of Phoenicia, for the sake of Israeli King Solomon, son of David, trades with the port of Ophir, Sanskrit Supara, near modern Mumbai. Same trade with India goes back to Harappan era. 950 BCE, Jewish people arrive in India in King Solomon's merchant fleet. Later Jewish colonies find India a tolerant home. 950 BCE, gradual breakdown of Sanskrit as a spoken language occurs over the next 200 years. 900 BCE, Iron Age in India. Early use dates to at least 1500 BCE. Circa 900 BCE, earliest records of the holy city of Varanasi, one of the world's oldest living cities on the sacred river Ganga. 900 BCE, use of iron supplements bronze in Greece. 850 BCE, the Chinese are using the 28 nakshatra zodiac called the Shiu, adapted from the Hindu Jyotisha system. Circa 800 BCE, later Upanishads are recorded. 800 BCE, later Smriti, secondary Hindu scripture, is composed, elaborated and developed during next 1,000 years. 776 BCE, first Olympic Games are held in Greece. 750 BCE, Prakrit's vernacular or natural languages develop among India's common peoples. Already flourishing in 500 BCE, Pali and other Prakrits are chiefly known from Buddhist and Jain works composed at this time. 750 BCE, priestly Sanskrit is gradually refined over the next 500 years, taking on its classical form. 700 BCE, early Smartism emerges from the syncretic Vedic Brahminical priestly caste tradition. It flourishes today as a liberal sect alongside Shiva, Vaishnava, and Shakta sects. 623 BCE to 543 BCE. Life of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, born in Uttar Pradesh in a princely Shakya Shaivite family. Date by Sri Lankan Buddhist. Indian scholars say 563 BCE to 483 BCE. Mahayanists of China and Japan prefer 566 BCE to 486 BCE or later. 600 BCE, life of Zoroaster, founder of Zoroastrianism in Persia. His holy book Zendavesta contains many verses from the Rig and Atharva Veda. His strong distinctions between good and evil set the dualistic tone of God and devil, which distinguishes all later Western religions. Circa 600, life of Sushruta of Varanasi, the father of surgery. His Ayurvedic treatises covered pulse diagnosis, hernia, cataract, cosmetic surgery, medical ethics, 121 surgical implements, antiseptics, use of drugs to control bleeding, toxicology, psychiatry, classification of burns, midwifery, surgical anesthesia, and therapeutics of garlic. The Ajvikas, an ascetic, atheistic sect of naked sadhus, is at its height, continuing in Mysore until the 14th century. Adversaries of Buddha and Mahavira, their philosophy is deterministic, holding that everything is inevitable. Circa 600 BCE, lifetime of Lao Tzu, founder of Taoism in China, author of Tao Te Ching. Its esoteric teachings of simplicity and selflessness shaped Chinese life for 2,000 years and permeate the religions of Vietnam, Japan, and Korea. 599 to 527 BCE, lifetime of Mahavira Vardhamana, 24th Tirthankara, Renaissance Jain master who stresses vegetarianism, asceticism, and non-violence. Some place him 40 years later. 560 BCE. In Greece, Pythagoras teaches math, music, vegetarianism, and yoga, drawing from India's wisdom ways. 551 to 478 BCE. Lifetime of Confucius, founder of Confucianist faith. His teachings on social ethics are the basis of Chinese education, ruling class ideology, and religion. 518 BCE, Darius I of Persia, present Iran, invades Indus Valley. This Zoroastrian king shows tolerance for local religions. Circa 500 BCE, lifetime of Kapila, founder of Sankhya Darshana, one of 6 classical systems of Hindu philosophy. 500 BCE, dams to shore water are constructed in India. 500 BCE, world population is 100 million. India population is 25 million, 15 million of whom live in the Ganga Basin. 500 BCE, over the next 300 years, according to the later dating of Muller, numerous secondary Hindu scriptures, Smriti, are composed. Sratu Sutras, Griya Sutras, Dharma Sutras, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Puranas, etc. Circa 500 BCE, Tamil Sangam age, 500 BCE to 500 Common Era, begins. C. 3000 BCE. Sage Agastya writes Agatiyam, first known Tamil grammar. Kulkarni places him at 8576 BCE. Tolkapiyar, Kulkarni says 2700 BCE, writes Tolkapiyam Puranuru on grammar, stating he is recording rules on poetry, rhetoric, etc. of further grammarians, indicating prior high development of Tamil. Gives rules for absorbing Sanskrit words. Other Sangam age works are the poetical Paripadal, Patupatu, Etuthokai, Purananaru, Akananaru, Aigurunuru, Padinenkilkanaku. Some refer to worship of Vishnu, Indra, Murugan, and Supreme Shiva. Circa 486 BCE. Ajatasattu reigned 486 to 548 BCE, ascends Magadha throne. 480 BCE, Ajita, a Nastika atheist who teaches a purely material explanation of life and that death is final, dies. 478 BCE, Prince Vijaya, exiled by his father, King Sinhabahu, sails from Gujarat with 700 followers, founds Sinhalese kingdom in Sri Lanka. Mahavamsa chronicles circa 500 BCE. 450 BCE, Athenian philosopher Socrates flourishes circa 470 BCE to 400 BCE. 428 to 348 BCE, lifetime of Plato, Athenian disciple of Socrates. This great philosopher founds Athens Academy in 387 BCE. 400 BCE, Panini composes his Sanskrit grammar. The Ashtadhyayi, date by Western scholars, see Indian dates at 1300 BCE. Circa 400 BCE, lifetime of Hippocrates, Greek physician and father of medicine, formulates Hippocratic Oath, code of medical ethics still pledged by present-day Western doctors. Circa 350 BCE, rainfall is measured by Indian scientists. 326 BCE, Alexander the Great of Greece invades, but fails to conquer northern India. His soldiers mutiny. He leaves India the same year. Greeks who remain in India intermarry with Indians. Interchanges of philosophy influence both civilizations. Greek sculpture impacts Hindu styles. Bactria kingdoms later enhance Greek influence. 305 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya, founder of First Pan-Indian Empire, 324 to 184 BCE, defeats Greek garrisons of Seleucus, founder of Seleucian Empire in Persia and Syria. At its height under Emperor Asoka, reigned 273 to 232 BCE, the Mauryan Empire includes all India except the far south. Circa 302 BCE, Kautilya Chanakya, minister to Chandragupta Maurya, writes Arthashastra, a compendium of laws, administrative procedures, and political advice for running a kingdom. 302 BCE. In Indica, Megasthenes, envoy to King Seleucus, reveals to Europe in colorful detail the wonders of Mauryan India, an opulent society with abundant agriculture, engineered irrigation, and 7 castes, philosophers, farmers, soldiers, herdsmen, artisans, magistrates, and counselors. Circa 300 BCE, Chinese discover cast iron, known in Europe by 300 BCE. Circa 300 BCE. Pancharatra Vaishnava sect is prominent. All later Vaishnava sects are based on the Pancharatra beliefs, formalized by Sandilya around 100 current era. Circa 300 BCE, Pandya Kingdom, 300 BCE to 1700 current era, is founded, builder of many of South India's great temples, including Madurai, Meenakshi, Srirangam, and Rameshwaram, circa 1600. 297 BCE, Emperor Chandragupta abdicates, becomes Jain monk. 273 BCE, Ashoka, greatest of last Mauryan emperor, grandson of Chandragupta, is coronated, renouncing armed conquest after conquering Kalinga in 260 BCE. He adopts Buddhism, excels at public works, sends diplomatic missions to Persia, Syria, Egypt, North Africa, and Crete, and Buddhist Dharma mission to Sri Lanka, China, and throughout Southeast Asia. In his 50-year reign, Buddhism becomes a world power. The rock and pillar edicts, example India's northern emblem, the lion pillar capital at Sarnath, preserve his work and teachings. 251 BCE. Emperor Asoka sends his son Mahendra, 270 to 204 BCE, to spread Buddhism in Sri Lanka, where he is to this day revered as the national faith's founding missionary. Circa 250 BCE. Lifetime of Maharishi Nandinatha, first known Satguru in the Kailasa Parampara of the Nandinatha Sampradaya. His 8 disciples are Sanat Kumar, Sanakar, Sanadanar, Sanantanar, Shiva Yogamuni, Patanjali, Vyagrapada, and Tirumalar Sundaranatha. Circa 221 BCE. Great Wall of China is built, ultimately 2,600 miles long, the only man-made object visible from the moon. Circa 200 BCE, lifetime of Rishi Tirumalar, Shishya of Maharishi Nandinatha, and author of the 3047-verse Tirumantiram, a summation of Shaiva Agamas and Vedas, concisely articulating the Nandinatha Sampradaya teachings, founding South India's monistic Shaiva Siddhanta school. Circa 200 BCE, lifetime of Saint Avayar of Tamil Nadu, Ganesha devotee, mystic poetess and yogini, see also 800 BCE. Circa 200 BCE, lifetime of Patanjali, Shishya of Nandinatha, and brother monk of Tirumalar. He writes the Yoga Sutras at Chidambaram in South India. Kulkarni dates him at 550 BCE. Circa 200 BCE, Bogar Rishi, one of 18 Tamil Siddhars, shapes from 9 poisons the Murti enshrined in today's Palani Hills Temple in South India. He is from China or visits there. Circa 200 BCE. Lifetime of Saint Tiruvalluvar, poet-weaver who lived near present-day Chennai, author of Tirukural, Holy Couplets, the classic Tamil work on ethics and statecraft, sworn on in today's South Indian law courts. Circa 200 BCE. Jaimini writes the Mimamsa Sutras. Circa 150 BCE, Ajanta Buddhist caves are begun near present-day Hyderabad. Construction of 29 monasteries and galleries spans to 650 current era. Famous murals are painted 600 to 650 current era. 145 BCE, Chola Empire. 145 BCE to 1300 current era of Tamil Nadu is founded, noted for government organization and artistic accomplishment, including enormous irrigation works. 140 BCE, Emperor Wu begins 3-year reign of China. Worship of the mother goddess, Earth, attains importance. 130 BCE, reign ends of Menander, Milinda, Indo-Greek king who converts to Buddhism. 58 BCE, Vikrama Samvat era Hindu calendar begins. 50 BCE, Kushana Empire begins. 50 BCE to 220 current era. This Mongolian Buddhist dynasty rules most of the Indian subcontinent, Afghanistan, and parts of Central Asia. Circa 10 BCE, Elangavadikal, son of King Cheralathan of the Tamil Sangam age, writes the outstanding epic Shilapathikaram, classic Tamil treatise on music and dance. 4 BCE, Jesus of Nazareth, 4 BCE to 30 current era, founder of Christianity, is born in Bethlehem, current biblical scholarship. Western calendar begins, Common Era. 10 Common Era. World population is 170 million. India population is 35 million, 20.5% of the world. Circa 50 Common Era. South Indians occupy Funan, Indochina. Kaudinya, an Indian Brahmin, is first king. Shaivism is the state religion. 53 Common Era. A Christian legend records the death of St. Thomas, one of Christ's 12 apostles, in Chennai, but history offers no evidence he ever came to India and shows that Bharat's first Christian community was Kerala's Syrian Malabar Church, founded in 345 current era by Thomas of Cana. Circa 60 current era. Buddhism is introduced in China by Emperor Ming Di, reigned 58 to 76 current era. After he converts to the faith, brings 2 monks from India who erect temple at modern Honan. 69 current era. A large Jewish community is established in Cochin. 75 current era. A Gujarat prince named Ajisaka invades Java. 78 Common Era. Shaka Hindu calendar begins. Circa 80 Common Era. Jains divide on points of rules for monks into the Svetambara white-clad and the Digambara sky-clad. Circa 80 to 180 Common Era. Lifetime of Charaka, court physician of the Kushan king. He formulates a code of conduct for doctors of Ayurveda and writes Chakara Samhita, a manual of medicine. Circa 100 Common Era. Lifetime of Sandilya, first systematic promulgator of the ancient Pancharata doctrines. His Bhakti Sutras, devotional aphorisms on Vishnu, inspire a Vaishnava renaissance. By 700 Common Era, the sect has left a permanent mark on many Hindu schools. The Samhita of Sandilya and his followers, Pancharata Agama, embodies the chief doctrines of present-day Vaishnavas. 100 Common Era. Zhang Qian of China establishes trade routes to India and as far west as Rome, later known as the Silk Roads. 105 Common Era. Paper is invented in China. 117 Common Era. The Roman Empire reaches its greatest extent. 125 Common Era. Satakarni, circa 106 to 130, reign of Andhra Satavahana, 70 BCE to 225 Common Era. Dynasty destroys Shaka kingdom of Gujarat. Circa 175 Common Era. Greek astronomer Ptolemy, known as Asura Maya in India, explains solar astronomy, Surya Siddhanta, to Indian students of the science of the stars. 180. Mexican city of Teotihuacan has 100,000 population and covers 11 square miles, grows to 250,000 by 500 Common Era. Circa 200. Lifetime of Lakulisa, famed guru who leads a reformist movement within Pashupata Shaivism. Circa 200. Hindu kingdoms established in Cambodia and Malaysia. 205 to 270. Lifetime of Plotinus, Egyptian-born monistic Greek philosopher and religious genius who transforms a revival of Platonism in the Roman Empire into what present-day scholars call Neoplatonism, which greatly influences Islamic and European thought. He teaches ahimsa, vegetarianism, karma, reincarnation, and belief in a supreme being, both immanent and transcendent. Circa 250. Pallava dynasty, circa 250 to 885, is established in Tamil Nadu, responsible for building Kailasa Kamakshi temple complex at their capital of Kanchi and the great 7th century stone monuments at Mahabalipuram. Circa 275, Buddhist monastery Mahavihara is founded in Anuradhapura, capital of Sri Lanka. 350, Imperial Gupta dynasty 320 to 540 flourishes. During this classical age, norms of literature, art, architecture, and philosophy are established. This North Indian empire promotes Vaishnavism and Shaivism, and at its height rules or receives tribute from nearly all India. Buddhism also thrives under tolerant Gupta rule. Circa 350, lifetime of Kalidasa, the great Sanskrit poet and dramatist, author of Shakuntala and Meghaduta. The traditional date offered by Professor Subhashkak is 50 BCE. Circa 350, Lichavi dynasty, circa 350 to 900, establishes Hindu rule in Nepal. Small kingdom becomes the major intellectual and commercial center between South and Central Asia. 358, Huns, excellent archers and horsemen, possibly of Turkish origin, invade Europe from the east. Maharaja Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, greatest Hindu monarch, reigns to 413, expanding the prosperous Gupta Empire northward beyond the Indus River. 391, Roman Emperor Theodosius destroys Greek Hellenistic temples in favor of Christianity. Circa 400, Manudharma Shastra is written. Its 2,685 verses codify cosmogony, 4 asramas, government, domestic affairs, caste and morality. Others prefer 600 BCE. Kulkarni gives 150 BCE for latest edition of a code in vogue since 7000 BCE. Circa 400, Polynesians sailing in open outrigger canoes reach as far as Hawaii and Easter Island. Circa 400, Chaturanga, Indian forerunner of chess, has evolved from Ashtapada, a board-based race game, into a four-handed war game played with a die. Later, in defense to the laws of Manu, which forbid gambling, players discard the die and create Shatranj, a two-sided strategy game. Circa 400, Vatsyayana writes Kama Sutra, famous text on erotics. 419, Mocha people of Peru build a sun temple 150 feet high using 50 million bricks. 438 to 445, Council of Ferrara, Florence, Italy, strengthens Roman Catholic stance against doctrine of reincarnation. Circa 440, Ajanta cave frescoes long before Islam depict Buddha as Prince Siddhartha wearing Chudidara pajama and a prototype of the present-day Nehru shirt. 450 to 535, Life of Bodhidharma of South India, 28th Patriarch of India's Dhyana Buddhist sect, founder of Chan Buddhism in China, 520, known as Zen in Japan. Circa 450, Hephthalite invasions circa 450 to 565 take a great toll in North India. These white Huns, or Hunas, from China are probably not related to Europe's Hun invaders. Circa 450, as the Gupta Empire declines, Indian sculptural style evolves and continues until the 16th century. The trend is away from the swelling modeled forms of the Gupta period toward increasing flatness and linearity. 453, Attila the Hun dies after a lifetime of plundering Europe. 499, Aryabhata I, 476 to circa 550, Indian astronomer and mathematician using Hindu, aka Arabic numerals, accurately calculates pi to 3.1416 and the solar year to 365.3586805 days. 1,000 years before Copernicus, Aryabhata propounds a heliocentric universe with elliptically orbiting planets and a spherical Earth spinning on its axis, explaining the apparent rotation of heavens. Writes Aryabhatiya, history's first exposition on plane and spherical trigonometry, algebra, and arithmetic. Circa 500. Mahavamsa, chronicling Sri Lankan history from 500 BCE, is written in Pali, probably by Buddhist monk Mahanama. A sequel, Chulavamsa, continues the history to 1500. Circa 500. Sectarian folk traditions are revised, elaborated, and reduced to writing as Puranas. Hinduism's encyclopedic compendium of culture and mythology. 500. World population is 190 million. India population is 50 million, 26.3% of the world. 510. Hephthalite Mihirakula from beyond Oxus River crushes imperial Gupta power, soon controls much of north-central India. Circa 533. Yasovarman of Malva and Ishanavarman of Kannauj defeat and expel the Hephthalites from North India. Circa 543. Pulakeshin I founds Chalukya dynasty circa 543 to 757, 975 to 1189 in Gujarat and later in larger areas of West India. 548. Emperor Kemei officially recognizes Buddhism in Japan by accepting a gift image of Buddha from Korea. 553. The Second Council of Constantinople denies doctrine of soul's existence before conception, implying reincarnation is incompatible with Christian belief. 565. The Turks and Persians defeat the Hephthalites. 570 to 632. Lifetime of Muhammad, preacher of the Quraysh Bedouin tribe, founder of Islam. Begins to preach in Mecca, calling for an end to the demons and idols of Arab religion and conversion to the ways of the one God Allah. Circa 590 to 671. Lifetime of Shiva Saint Nayanar Tirunavukarasu, born into a farmer family at Amur, known in South Arcot, Tamil Nadu. He writes 312 songs totaling 3,066 Tirumurai verses. Cleaning the grounds of every temple he visits, he exemplifies truly humble service to Lord Shiva. His contemporary, the child saint Nayanar Sambandar, addresses him affectionately as Apar, father. Circa 598 to 665. Lifetime of Brahmagupta, preeminent Indian astronomer who writes on gravity and sets forth the Hindu astronomical system in his Brahma Shaputa Siddhanta. 2 of 25 chapters are on sophisticated mathematics. Circa 600. Religiously tolerant Pallava king Narasimhavarman builds China Pagoda, a Buddhist temple, at the Nagapattam port for Chinese merchants and visiting monks. Circa 610. Muhammad begins prophecies, flees to Mecca in 622. Circa 600 to 900. 12 Vaishnava Alvar saints of Tamil Nadu flourish, writing 4,000 songs and poems, assembled in their canon Nalayira Divya Prabandham, praising Narayana Rama and narrating the love of Krishna and the gopis. Circa 600. Life of Banabhata, Shakta master of Sanskrit prose, author of Harshacharita, Story of Harsha, and Kadambari. 606. Buddhist Harshavardhana, reigning 606 to 644, establishes first great kingdom after the Hephthalite invasions, eventually ruling all India to the Narmada River in the south. Circa 630, Vagbhata writes Ashtanga Sangraha on Ayurveda. 630 to 634. Chalukya Pulakeshin II becomes Lord of South India by defeating Harshavardhana, Lord of the North. 630 to 644. Chinese pilgrim Huanzang travels in India, recording voluminous observations. Population of Varanasi is 10,000, mostly Shaiva. Nalanda Buddhist University, his biographer writes, has 10,000 residents, including 1,510 teachers and thousands of manuscripts. 641 to 45. Arab Muslims conquer Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Persia. Circa 650. Lifetime of Nayanar Shaiva saint Tirujnana Sambandar, born a Brahmin in Tanjavur. He writes 384 songs, totaling 4,158 verses, that make up the first three books of Tirumurai. At 16, he disappears into the sanctum of Nallur Temple near Tiruchi, Tamil Nadu. Circa 650, more than 60 Chinese monks have traveled to India and her colonies. 400 Sanskrit works have been translated into Chinese. 380 survive to the present day. 686 to 705, reign of Pallava king Rajasinha. He inherits the stone carving legacy of Emperor Mahendra and his son Narasimha, who began the extensive sculptural art in the thriving seaport of Mahabalipuram. Circa 700. Over the next 100 years, the Indonesian island of Bali receives Hinduism from its neighbor Java. 712. Muslims conquer Sindh region, Pakistan, providing base for pillaging expeditions that drain North India's wealth. 732. French prevent Muslim conquest of Europe, stopping Arabs at Poitiers, France, northwest limit of Arab penetration. 739. Chalukya armies beat back Arab Muslim invasions at Navashari in modern Maharashtra. Circa 750 to 1159, Pala dynasty arises in Bihar and Bengal, last royal patrons of Buddhism, which they help establish in Tibet. Circa 750, Kailasa temple is carved out of a hill of rock at Ellora. Circa 750, Hindu astronomer and mathematician travels to Baghdad with Brahmagupta's Brahmasiddhanta treatise on astronomy, which he translates into Arabic, bestowing decimal notation and use of zero on Arab world. Circa 750, lifetime of Bhavabhuti, Sanskrit dramatist second only to Kalidasa, writes Malati Madhava, a Shakta work. Circa 750, Valmiki writes 29,000-verse Yoga Vashista. Circa 750, a necklace timepiece, Kadikaram in Tamil, is worn by an emperor according to scholar M. Arunachalam. 788, Adi Shankara, 788 to 820, is born in Malabar, famous monk philosopher of the Smarta tradition, who writes mystic poems and scriptural commentaries, including Vivekachudamani, and regularizes 10 monastic orders called Dashanami, preaches Mayavada Advaita, emphasizing the world as illusion and God as the sole reality. Circa 800, Bhakti revival curtails Buddhism in South India. In the north, Buddha is revered as Vishnu's ninth incarnation. Circa 800, life of Namalavar, greatest of Alvar saints. His poems shaped beliefs of southern Vaishnavas to the present day. Circa 800, lifetime of Vasugupta, modern founder of Kashmir Shaivism, a monistic meditative school. Circa 800, lifetime by later dating of Avayar, woman saint of Tamil Nadu, Ganesha devotee, author of Avaikural. She is associated with the Lambika Kundalini school. An earlier strong tradition date for Avayar of 200 BCE is from a story about her and Saint Tiruvalluvar as contemporaries. A third reference places her around 1000. Avayar means old learned woman. Some believe there were 3 different Avayars. Circa 800, lifetime of Karaikal Ammayar, one of the 63 Shaiva saints of Tamil Nadu. Her mythical and yogic hymns preserved in Tirumurai remain popular to the present day. Circa 825, Nayanar Tamil Saint Sundarar is born into a family of Adishaiva temple priests in Tirunavalar in present-day South Arcot. His 100 songs in praise of Shiva, the only one surviving of his 38,000 songs, make up Tirumurai Book 7. His Tiri Tondatohai poem, naming the Shaiva saints, is the basis for Saint Sekular's Periyapuranam. Circa 800, lifetime of Andal, woman saint of Tamil Nadu, writes devotional poetry to Lord Krishna, disappears at age 16. Circa 825, Vasugupta discovers the rock-carved Shiva Sutras. 846, Vijayalaya re-establishes his Chola dynasty, which over the next 100 years grows and strengthens into one of the greatest South Indian empires ever known. Circa 850, Sri Vaisnava sect established in Tamil Nadu by Acharya Nathamuni, forerunner of great theologian Ramanuja. Circa 850, life of Manikava Sagar, Shiva Samyacharya saint, born in Tiruvaduvar, near Madurai, in a Tamil Brahmin family. Writes famed Tiruvasagam, 51 poems of 656 verses in 3,394 lines, chronicling the soul's evolution to god Shiva. Tirupali Aluchi and Tiruvambavai are classic examples of his innovative style of devotional songs. 875, Muslim conquest extend from Spain to Indus Valley. 885, Cholas kill Aparajita, king of the Pallavas in battle. Circa 900, lifetime of Matsyendranatha, exponent of the Natha sect emphasizing Kundalini yoga practices. Circa 900, under the Hindu Malla dynasty, circa 900 to 1700 of Nepal, legal and social codes influenced by Hinduism are introduced. Nepal is broken into several principalities. Circa 900 to 1001, lifetime of Sembiyan Madevi, queen of Maharaja Gandaradita Chola from 950 to 957, and loyal patron of Shaivism, builds 10 temples and inspires and molds her grandnephew Prince, son of Sundara Chola, into the great temple builder Emperor Rajaraja I. 900, Matarama's dynasty in Indonesia reverts to Shaivism after a century of Buddhism, building 150 Shaiva temples. Circa 950, lifetime of Gorakshanatha, Natha Yogi who founds the order of Kanfatha Yogis and Gorakshanatha Shaivism, the philosophical school called Siddha Siddhanta. Circa 950 to 1015, lifetime of Kashmir Shaiva guru Abhinavagupta. 960, Chola King Veera, after having a vision of Shiva Nataraja dancing, commences enlargement of the Shiva temple at Chidambaram, including the construction of the gold-roofed shrine. The enlargement is completed in 1250 Common Era. 985, Rajaraja I, reign 985 to 1014, ascends the South Indian Chola throne and ushers in a new age of temple architecture exemplified at Tanjavur, Dharashuram, Tirubhavanam, and Chidambaram. Pallava architectural influences, dominant vimanas, inconspicuous gopuras fade. Circa 1000, Gorakshanatha writes, Siddha Siddhanta Padati, tracks on the doctrines of the adepts, the nature of God and universe, structure of chakras, kundalini force, and methods for realization are explained in 353 verses. Circa 1000, world population is 265 million. India population is 79 million, 29.8% of the world. Circa 1000, a few Hindu communities from Rajasthan, Sindh, and other areas, the ancestors of present-day Romani or Gypsies, gradually moved to Persia and on to Europe. Circa 1000, Vikings reach North America, landing in Nova Scotia. Circa 1000, Polynesians arrive in New Zealand, last stage in the greatest migration and navigational feat in history, making them the most widely spread race on Earth. 1001, Turkish Muslims sweep through the northwest under Mahmud of Ghazni, defeating Jayapala of Hindu Sahi dynasty of South Afghanistan, and Punjab at Peshawar. This is the first major Muslim conquest in India. Circa 1010, Tirumurai, Tamil devotional hymns of Shaiva saints, is collected as an anthology by Nambiandar Nambi. 1017, Mahmud of Ghazni sacks Mathura, birthplace of Lord Krishna, and establishes a mosque on the site during one of his 17 Indian invasions for holy war and plunder. 1017 to 1137, Life of Ramanuja of Kanchipuram, Tamil philosopher, saint of Sri Vaishnava sect that continues Bhakti tradition of South Indian Alvar saints. His strongly theistic, non-dual Vishishtadvaita Vedanta philosophy restates Pancharatra tradition, foremost opponent of Shankara's system. He dies at age 120 while head of Sri Rangam Monastery. 1018 to 1060. Lifetime of Bojadeva Paramara, Gujarati king, poet, artist, and monistic Shaiva Siddhanta theologian. 1024, Mahmud of Ghazni plunders Somanath Shiva temple, destroying the linga and killing 50,000 Hindu defenders. He later builds a mosque on the remaining walls. 1025. Chola ruler Maharaja Rajendra I sends victorious naval expeditions to Burma, Malaysia, and Indonesia, initiating decline of Mahayana Buddhist empire of Srivijaya. Circa 1040, Chinese invent the compass and movable type and perfect the use of gunpowder, first invented and used in India as an explosive mixture of saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal to power guns, cannons, and artillery. Circa 1050, lifetime of Srikantha, promulgator of Shiva Advaita, a major philosophical school of Shaivism. Circa 1130 to 1200, lifetime of Nimbarka, Telugu founder of the Vaishnava Nimandi sect, holding the philosophy of Dvaita, dual non-dualism. He introduces the worship of Krishna together with consort Radha, present-day Nimavats revered Vishnu himself in the form of the Hamsa Avatara as the originator of their sect. 1130. Lifetime of secular Tamil chief minister under Chola Emperor Kolatunga II, reign 1133 to 1150, and author of Periyapuranam, 4,286-verse epic biography, hagiography of the 63 Shaiva saints, and 12th book of Tiramurai. Circa 1150. Life of Bashavana, Renaissance guru of the Virashaiva sect, stressing free will, equality, service to humanity, and worship of the Shiva linga worn around the neck. Circa 1150, Khmer ruler Suryavarman II completes Angkor Wat Temple in present-day Cambodia, where his body is later entombed and worshipped as an embodiment of Vishnu. This largest Hindu temple in Asia is 12 miles in circumference with a 200-foot-high central tower. Circa 1162, Mahadevi is born, female Shaiva ascetic saint of Karnataka, writes 350 majestic and mystical poems. 1175, Toltec Empire of Mexico crumbles. 1185, Muhammad of Gur conquers Punjab and Lahore. 1191, Esai founds Rinzai Zen sect in Japan after study in China. 1193, Kutubuddin Aibak, a freed slave and first Muslim Sultanate of Delhi, establishes Mamluk dynasty, 1193 to 1290. 1197, Great Buddhist University of Nalanda is destroyed by Muslim Ikhtiaruddin. 1200, all of North India is under Muslim domination. 1200, India population reaches 80 million. Circa 1200, an unknown author writes Yoga Yajnavalkya. 1215, King John is forced to sign the Magna Carta, giving greater rights to citizens in England. 1227, Mongolian Emperor Genghis Khan, conqueror of a vast area from Beijing, China to Iran and north of Tibet, the largest empire the world has yet seen, dies. 1230 to 1260, Surya Temple at Konarak, Orissa, India is constructed. 1238 to 1317, lifetime of Ananda Tirtha, Madhva, venerable Vaishnava dualist and opponent of Shankara's Mayavadin Advaita philosophy. He composes 37 works and founds Dvaita Vedanta school, the Brahma Vaishnava Sampradaya, and its 8 monasteries, Ashtamatha in Udupai. Circa 1250, lifetime of Mekandar, Shaiva saint who founds the Mekandar school of pluralistic Shaiva Siddhanta, of which his 12th sutra, Shiva Jnana Bodham, becomes its core scripture. 1260, Meister Eckhart, the German mystic, is born. 1268 to 1369, lifetime of Vedanta Deshikar, gifted Tamil scholar and poet who founds sect of Vaishnavism called Vadakalai, headquartered at Kanchipuram. 1270 to 1350, lifetime of Namadeva, foremost poet saint of Maharashtra's Varkari Pilgrim Vaishnava school, disciple of Jnanadeva. He and his family compose 1,000,000 verses in praise of Lord Vitoba, Vishnu. 1272, Marco Polo visits India en route to China. 1274, the Second Council of Lyon declares that souls go immediately to heaven, purgatory, or hell, interpreted by Catholic fathers as condemning the doctrine of reincarnation. 1275 to 1296, lifetime of Jnanadeva, Natha-trained Vaishnava saint, founder of the Varkari school, who writes Jnaneshvari, a Marathi verse commentary on Bhagavad Gita, which becomes Maharashtra's most popular book. 1279, Muktabai is born. Maharashtrian Vakari saint and Natha Yogini writes 100 verses. 1280, Mongol Yuan dynasty, 1280 to 1368 begins in China, under which occurs the last of much translation work into Chinese from Sanskrit. 1296, Alauddin, second king of Khalji dynasty, rules most of India after his general Kapur conquers the south, extending Muslim domination to Rameshwaram. Circa 1300, lifetime of Janabai, Maharashtrian Varkari Vaishnava woman saint who writes a portion of Namadeva's 1,000,000 verses to Vithoba, Vishnu. Circa 1300, the Ananda Samuchaya is written, 277 stanzas on Hatha Yoga, with discussion of the chakras and the nadis. 1300, Muslim conquerors reach Cape Comorin at the southernmost tip of India and build a mosque there. 1317 to 1372, Life of Lala of Kashmir, Shaiva renunciate, mystic poetess, contributes significantly to the Kashmiri language. 1336, Vijayanagara Empire, 1336 to 1565 to 1646, of South India is founded. European visitors are overwhelmed by the wealth and advancement of its 17-square-mile capital. 1345, Aztecs establish great civilization in Mexico. 1346 to 1390, life of Kritivasa, translator of Ramayana into Bengali. 1347, plague called the Black Death spreads rapidly, killing 75 million worldwide before it recedes in 1351. Circa 1350, Sratmarama writes Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Circa 1350, lifetime of Apaya Dikshita, South Indian philosopher saint whose writings reconcile Vaishnavism and Shaivism. He advances Shaiva Advaita and other Shaiva schools and compiles a temple priest's manual still used today. 1398, Tamerlane, Timur invades India with 90,000 cavalry and sacks Delhi because its Muslim sultanate is too tolerant of Hindu idolatry. A Mongolian follower of Sufism, he is one of the most ruthless of all conquerors. 1399, Hardwar, Ganga, pilgrimage town, is sacked by Timur. Circa 1400, Goraksha Upanishad is written. 1414, Hindu prince Parameshvara of Malaysia converts to Islam. 1414 to 1480, life of Gujarati Vaishnava poet saint Narasimha Mehta. 1415, Bengali poet-singer Baru Chandidas writes Sri Krishna Kirtana, a collection of exquisite songs praising Krishna. 1429, Joan of Arc, aged 17, leads French to victory over English. Circa 1433, China cloisters itself from the outside world by banning further voyages to the west. First bamboo curtain. 1440 to 1518, lifetime of Kabir, Vaishnava reformer, with whom has both Muslim and Hindu followers. His Hindi songs remain immensely popular to the present day. Circa 1440. Johann Gutenberg, circa 1400 to 1468, invents the West's first movable type printing press in Germany. 1450 to 1547, lifetime of Mirabai, Vaishnava Rajput princess saint, married at an early age to the Rana of Udaipur, devotes herself to Krishna, and later renounces worldly life to wander India, singing to him beautiful mystic compositions that are sung to the present day. 1469 to 1538, lifetime of Guru Nanak, founder of Sikhism, originally a reformist Hindu sect stressing devotion, faith in the Guru, repetition of God's name, and rejection of renunciation and caste. Most Sikhs in the present day consider themselves members of a separate religion. 1478, Spanish Inquisition begins. Over the next 20 years, Christians burned several thousand persons at the stake. 1479 to 1531, lifetime of Vallabhacharya, a married Telugu Brahmin saint who teaches Pushtimarga, path of love, and a lofty non-dual philosophy. Shuddhadvaita Vedanta, in which souls are eternally one with Brahman. Vallabhacharya's Vaishnavism worships Krishna in the form of Srinathji. 1483 to 1563, lifetime of Surdas, sightless Hindi bard of Agra, whose hymns to Krishna are compiled in the Sursagar. 1486 to 1543, life of Chaitanya, Bengali founder of popular Vaishnava sect, which proclaims Krishna supreme God and emphasizes Sankirtan, group chanting and dancing. 1492, looking for India, Christopher Columbus lands on San Salvador Island in the Caribbean, thus discovering the Americas and proving the earth is round, not flat. 1498. Portugal's Vasco da Gama sails around the Cape of Good Hope to Calcutta, first European to find sea route to India. Circa 1500. Life of Arunagirinathar, Tamil saint, author of Tirupugal hymns, emphasizes feeding the hungry during a time of Muslim oppression and disrupted family life. Circa 1500, Buddhist and Shiva Hindu princes are forced off Java by invading Muslims. They resettle on neighboring Bali with their overlapping priesthoods and vast royal courts, poets, dancers, musicians, and artisans. Within 100 years they construct what many call a fairy tale kingdom. 1500, world population 425 million, 105 million live in India. 1503 to 1566, lifetime of Nostradamus, French physician and astrologer, who wrote Centuries, 1555, a book of prophecies. 1509 to 1529, reign of Maharaja Krishnadevaraya of the Vijayanagara Empire in Andhra Pradesh. 1510, Portuguese Catholics conquer Goa to serve as capital of their Asian maritime empire, beginning conquest and exploitation of India by Europeans. 1517, Luther begins Protestant Reformation in Europe. Circa 1520, poet Saint Purandardas, 1480 to 1564, of the Vijayanagara court systematizes Karnataka music. 1526, Mughal conqueror Babur, 1483 to 1530, defeats the Sultan of Delhi and captures the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Occupying Delhi by 1529, he founds the Indian Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1761, consolidated by his grandson Akbar. 1528, Emperor Babur destroys temple at Lord Rama's birthplace in Ayodhya, erects Muslim masjid as monument. 1532 to 1623, life of monk poet Talusidasa, writes Ramacharitamannasa, 1574 to 1577, the greatest medieval Hindi literature based on Ramayana. It advances Ramayana worship in the north. 1542, Portuguese Jesuit priest Francis Xavier, 1506 to 1552, most successful Catholic missionary, lands in Goa. First to train and employ native clergy in conversion efforts, he brings Catholicism to India, Malay Archipelago, and Japan. 1544 to 1603, Life of Dadu, ascetic saint of Gujarat, founder of Dadu Pantha, which is guided by his Bani poets in Hindi. 1556, Akbar, 1542 to 1605, grandson of Babur, becomes third Mughal emperor at age 13. Disestablishes Islam as state religion and declares himself imperial ruler of Hindus and Muslims, encourages art, culture, and religious tolerance. 1565, Muslim forces defeat and completely destroy the city of Vijayanagara. Empire's final collapse comes in 1646. 1565, Polish astronomer from 1573 to 1543, Copernicus's heliocentric system in which Earth orbits the Sun gains popularity in Europe among astronomers and mathematicians. 1569, Akbar captures fortress of Ranthambore, ending Rajput independence, soon controls nearly all of Rajasthan. Circa 1570, Ekanath, 1533 to 1599, Varkari Vaishnava saint and mystic composer, edits Jnanadeva's Jnaneshvari and translates Bhagavata Purana, advancing Marathi language. 1588, British ships defeat the Spanish Armada off the coast of Calais, France, to become rulers of the high seas. 1589, Akbar rules half of India, shows tolerance for all faiths. 1595, construction is begun on Chidambaram Temple's Hall of 1,000 Pillars in South India, completed in 1685. Circa 1600, Persian wheel to lift water by oxen is adopted, one of few farming innovations since Indus Valley civilization. 1600, Royal Charter forms the East India Company, setting in motion a process that ultimately results in the subjugation of India under British rule. 1603 to 1604, Guru Arjun completes Adi Granth, Sikh scripture. 1605, Akbar the Great dies at age 63. His son Jahangir succeeds him as fourth Mughal emperor. 1605, Sikh Golden Temple Harimandir at Amritsar, Punjab, is finished covered with gold leaf 2 centuries later. 1608 to 1649, lifetime of Tukaram, beloved Varkari saint famed for his Abhangas, unbroken hymns to Krishna, considered greatest Marathi spiritual composer. 1608 to 1681, lifetime of Ramdas, mystical poet, Shivaji's guru, Marathi saint, who gives Hindus the Dvaja saffron flag. 1610, Galileo of Italy, 1564 to 1642, perfects the telescope with which he confirms the Copernican theory. Catholic Inquisition condemns him a heretic for his discoveries. 1613 to 1614, British East India Company sets up trading post at Surat. 1615 to 1618, Mughals grant Britain right to trade and establish factories in exchange for English Navy's protection of the Mughal Empire, which faces Portuguese sea power. 1619, Jaffna Kingdom is annexed and Sri Lanka's ruling dynasty deposed by Portuguese Catholics, who between 1505 and 1658 destroy most of the island's Hindu temples. 1619, first black slaves from Africa are sold in the USA. 1612, European pilgrims land and settle at Plymouth Rock, U.S. 1627 to 1680, life of Shivaji, valiant general and tolerant founder of Hindu Maratha Empire, 1674 to 1818, emancipates large areas confiscated by Muslims, returning them to Hindu control, first Indian ruler to build a major naval force.